Hey guys, what's good? Triple J Boxing. So just watched the Mike Tyson, uh, Jake Paul card on Netflix. Netflix's first live boxing match, I believe. So it's revolutionary in the game, and I gotta say, started off really good in the sense that I was impressed with the quality. It looked like 4K to me. I don't know if it was 4K, depending on, because I think Netflix maybe charges more for the 4K stuff, but I really don't know what subscription I have. But it looked crystal clear to me. They brought on a lot of the commentators and in the crew from like DAZN, Showtime, HBO. They brought them all together, which was good. I liked that. ESPN. They had like everyone came together in a sense for the Netflix show. They hired all the people from the previous companies that used to do boxing, like Showtime, HBO, and then the current ones like DAZN. So in that sense, it was pretty good. And like I said, quality was very good. I came to watch the most. Well, I came to watch the Barrios, Ramos, and the Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. Those fights were the ones I came to see more so than the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. That was more of an exhibition, and I really don't know why they didn't make it an exhibition. I really don't know why this fight was a real fight and would go on their records with a decision. It just didn't make sense to me, especially since they're not even using pro rules. 14-ounce gloves, 2-minute rounds, so that made no sense to me why they would sanction that. Only reason I can think of is money. Money-wise, they thought it would sell better like that. Or maybe Mike Tyson told Jake, "Know what? I want this to be a real fight," and maybe they just listened to Mike. But I mean, why would the commissions approve that? I think it just comes down to money, because it should have just been an exhibition, and that's what it was, that fight. But I was most excited for the Taylor Serrano fight, and it did not disappoint again. And the Barrios Ramos fight was another great fight as well. Ended in a draw. When it comes to the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, like I said, I feel like Jake Paul carried Mike Tyson. That's my opinion on it. I didn't see how Mike Tyson could win other than he somehow landed a big shot in round one. But, I mean, as long as Jake was on his toes and used his range, I just didn't see how Mike could really pull the trigger and would have the legs to get that done. I mean, he's 58 years old, so even the way he looked against Roy Jones, if he was that same Mike Tyson, I didn't see him beating Jake. And he actually looked a lot worse than he did in that fight. And I knew something was wrong when he had that knee brace. When a fighter has a knee brace on, a leg wrap on, you know it's not going to be good for him or her. So that was the case. Mike Tyson, he started off okay in the first round, but as the fight progressed, his legs just looked so stiff and so like he had no explosiveness in his legs, and that's what Mike was used to be known for. That strong, like explosive legs he had to turn his shots in, and just generate that power from the legs. But he just didn't have that. His legs, if you watch his footwork, it was just like this. It was so stiff and like very short movements. He just had no power in his legs. It was so obviously he's 58 years old. And he had a knee injury going into the fight, apparently. They asked him, Ariel Hawani asked him, I think, after the fight, and he didn't want to make the excuse, but he had an injury on one of his knees or something. That's why he was wearing the knee brace or / wrap. So obviously that made it even worse. Not only is he 58, but he's an injured 58-year-old. I don't care what kind of fighter you used to be, how good you used to be. This is a 58-year-old man against, and I just didn't get why people were picking Mike Tyson other than they wanted him to win. I could understand that, and it was a nostalgic for them because they grew up watching him, or or hardcore boxing fans, obviously we like Mike, and we don't like Jake as much. But I mean, logically, I just didn't know why, if you knew boxing, why you would pick Mike, from all you've seen from Jake. Because to me, like I don't, like I said, I don't care who you are. If you're 58 years old, how are you gonna beat a 27-year-old who's not a guy off the street? He's an actual boxer. Like, I'm tired of people saying that Jake's not a boxer when he's been boxing for 6 years straight now. Like, it's just ridiculous. But people still look at him as like, oh, he's a YouTuber. Like, I don't get it. So you can't have a previous job before you box, or you're never a boxer, I guess. That's what I don't get. Because we have tons of fighters who get in the game late, like Deontay Wilder, who else? Regis Prograde, and there's a bunch of others. They came in the box. They came into boxing in their 20s, and they're highly successful. So I don't know why, when it comes to Jake, he's always a YouTuber and he can't be a boxer, when Jake got into boxing in his 20s and he's been at it for 6 years. So why is he not, like, why are we looking at him like he's not a boxer? And that's what I didn't get. He's not a regular guy. He's a good athlete. He's been boxing for 6 years, and he's fighting a 58-year-old. So why would you pick the 58-year-old? Like I said, I don't care who you are. If you're 58 years old, you're not going to beat a 27-year-old guy who is the same weight as you, if not look bigger than Mike, to be honest. He was taller, he was longer than Mike. Mike's a small heavyweight. I know Mike is wide, but I mean, like, they both weighed the same pretty much, and Jake is taller and longer. So I really didn't understand why people were picking Mike, and I didn't know why this was considered, why they sanctioned it as a real fight. Made no sense to me. Should have just made it an exhibition. I would have been okay with that. So I put down money on Jake because I knew Jake was going to win. So I got money there. I was going to pick Jake by decision. That was probably the smartest bet you could have made, because I had a feeling that this is how the fight was going to go. I just didn't see how Mike was gonna, or how I just didn't see either guy getting knocked out. And I couldn't see why Jake would knock out Mike, because that would be, it just wouldn't be a good look for Jake if he destroyed Mike, a 58-year-old. It just wouldn't, it wouldn't be right. You know what I mean? And a lot of people had the problem with the fight, the fact that Mike was that old. They didn't want to see this fight to begin with because of that. So that's why I assumed that Jake was not going to knock him out. And I didn't think Mike would be capable of knocking out Jake. So that was my thoughts on that. And that's why I thought he was going to go to decision. But the reason why I didn't pick that, I actually changed it to just a money line, because I've been doing a lot of picking the spread lately on NFL games, and it's been fucking me up. So I don't pick the spread no more. I just pick money line on everything. So I just pick money line on Jake. And I know the odds were good for the decision. That's what I thought was gonna happen. But I just played it safe and went money line. I wasn't messing around, because, like I said, doing the spread, it's been fucking me lately. I didn't want to deal with that. It's like, it's one thing. It's the worst feeling when you bet on a team or on a fighter and they win, but they don't win the way you picked. So you don't get you lose your money, but you technically were right. So that's why just go with money line, guys. But yeah, guys, I thought the odds were close enough to put money on Jake where you would get a decent payout. Yeah, so the fight itself played out like, some people were saying that it was fixed. Some people are saying that Mike was paid, or Mike was told not to try to knock out Jake, which I think that is ridiculous. And then there's others like Paulie Malignaggi who said that Jake was intimidated, and that's why he wasn't going after Mike as aggressive as he usually is, and landing the huge right hands that Jake usually does. But I think that's sorry guys. I think that's I don't agree with that. I think the reason why Jake wasn't letting his hands go as much as he usually does is because he was carrying Mike. He didn't want to knock out Mike. He played it safe enough. He was in total control that he felt like he could do whatever he wants. And like I said, as long as he stayed defensively sound, and used his range, he knew Mike couldn't hurt him, and he knew he was racking up points and he wouldn't lose on decision. So it was an exhibition that wasn't an exhibition, essentially, in my opinion. It was a sparring match. But back to the actual fights, like the Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano fight. Now that was a great fight. I had Katie Taylor winning. I thought the points shouldn't have gotten taken away. She wasn't really headbutting, but she was leading with her head, but it wasn't anything crazy, to be honest. And like I said, one's an orthodox, one's a southpaw. So the head clash, it's bound to happen, you know what I mean? So I don't really see why the ref took a point away. I thought, and oh yeah, one thing about the Netflix though, like I said before, it started off very good. It was very clear, everything was running good, but then we started running into buffering issues. It wasn't loading good, and I was starting to think, okay, this might be this Netflix sports thing might be a bust, because I was having severe buffering issues right before the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight, which I was really pissed off because that's the fight I came to see mostly. All the other fights before that were working great for me until that fight came on. So I missed the first 3 rounds. I don't know about if others had trouble with Netflix as much as I did, or if it came back in. It probably varied for people. I don't know. But so I missed the first 3 rounds. I heard that Taylor got rocked in the first round, but she recovered. That's what I seen off Twitter. Someone put that, because I was just looking at the Twitter feed as the buffering was happening on my Netflix, because it wasn't coming in. So I was seeing if people knew what was going on. But from round 3 on, I know, like, that's when it started working for me. It just looked like Katie Taylor was landing the cleaner shots. She was faster. The combinations were quicker, faster, landing more clean. Her timing was good. The counters were good. I just feel like Amanda Serrano was a tad slower, and Katie Taylor was getting off too many clean, fast combinations on her head. And that's why I thought Katie Taylor won the fight. But, I mean, it definitely deserves another fight. Who wouldn't want to see that, right? But she gets another win over her, 2 wins in a row over her. Katie Taylor gets the win. Good fight. The Barrios fight, a lot of people thought Barrios was going to win that. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he was the favorite. I thought Barrios was going to win. But Ramos made it a fight, and it was ended up being a draw, which I'm okay with that. Very good close fight. I didn't really score, but it was a good fight, and definitely want to see the rematch on that one. So overall, the event was good. The only problem was the buffering issue on Netflix was terrible, and we missed a lot of action, some of us. Now, it didn't affect me terribly. Like, I was to a point where I thought it was going to be terrible. Like I said, I missed 3 rounds of the co-main event, so that's obviously bad, especially if you're paying for Netflix and you're missing the actual thing you're paying for. But luckily, the stream came in good for me after that. Others, though, might have not, so I don't know. But overall, good card. Like I said, the Barrios, Ramos, and Taylor Serrano fight, you got your money's worth right there with your $10 subscription a month. The Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Like I said, I think Jake Paul just carried him. So I do respect Jake for that, for not going in and for the kill. Because I feel like that's like elderly abuse if he did that. But I just don't know why the fight was a real fight and that you could bet on it when this is how it was. Clearly, it looked like Jake was just carrying him. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way I saw it. It looked like Jake had plenty of gas left. He wasn't overly tired like he usually is. And Jake wasn't throwing as many punches as he usually does. Now, some people are going to say, oh, that's because Mike Tyson, he was afraid of Mike Tyson. Oh, that's because Jake put on the weight, which I could see the weight thing being a legitimate argument that Jake didn't throw as much because he's heavier. But, I mean, Jake just wasn't going in with that killer instinct he usually does when clearly Mike was fading pretty badly in the fight. His legs were gone. He was squinting in pain during the corners. It looked like something was, he might have a medical issue in the corner sometimes. Like he was really like, he looked like he was making facial expressions like he was in pain. And it wasn't from the punches, like maybe just from the exerting this much like energy, you know what I mean? Like at 58 years old and he's exerting himself too much. It looked like that kind of thing. That's what, and maybe he pulled something or whatever, right? He just wasn't feeling comfortable for overworking himself. But so Jake, it was there. He was there to, like, Mike Tyson was there to be stopped, but Jake chose not to. That's my opinion on it. But I just don't know why it would just make it an exhibition if you're going to do a fight like this. But yeah, guys, it was a great night of fights that I enjoyed. Hopefully Netflix can work on that buffering issue. I assume it was just the heavy traffic. They couldn't deal with it. But, I mean, if you're going to do something like this, an event that's going to bring in this many viewers, you got to make sure that you can handle it. You know what I mean? Now, maybe going forward, they'll deal with it better. And we'll see. But we'll see what happens, guys. This is Triple J Boxing. Thanks for watching. Take care.